Yo, it's your boy, Radically Moderate, back once again. Hope you guys ready for some laughs and some serious truth-telling. I'm your host, and I'm here to give you the real scoop on what's happening in the world today. Before we get started, let's set the mood of some sexy music and a blank screen. Because nothing says, I'm ready to listen to the truth, a blank screen and some smooth tunes. Are you ready? Let's get started. Yo. I need to pause this. There we go. Let's fire open my screen here. Center monitor, with cropping. There we go. How are we doing tonight, everybody? How are we doing? I'm doing amazing. Let's jump right into the articles. No waiting. Washington Post says there's growing pressure to ban gas stove, which we were told was a hoax. Hey guys, I'm Radically Moderate. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, clicking the bell. My old channel was banned for unfair reasons, which means I was probably speaking the truth, over the target. Here's how it went down. The news broke earlier this month that United States Consumer Protection Safety Commission was considering a ban on gas stove, which allegedly caused childhood asthma. They immediately tried to walk that back, saying the ban was never on the table, and the idea was only floated because Commissioner Richard Trumka Jr. in an interview with Bloomberg suddenly became a culture war thing. Washington Post reported that it was Republicans who had thrust gas stoves into the culture wars. Morning Joe mocked Republicans for their meltdown over gas stoves. California State Senator Scott Wiener got the last laugh, pulling up a chart that shows gas stoves are a blue state thing, and the hicks in the flyover states use electric stoves. But again, even though Trumka brought up, what's going on here? Washington Post says, with pressure growing to ban natural stoves in the home, experts explain what it takes to change gas fireplace to wood burning or electric. So we're going to use wood burning instead of gas? That's so stupid. Pressure from who? Where? Republicans in their culture war sure seem to come true. I don't know what are these Twitter calls? I thought it was a hoax. Pressure. Your pressure? Conspiracy theories coming true every day. These must be some random Twitter comments. Gas is bad, followed by, let us explain to you how we can chop down trees and burn them. Yeah, literally. It's way worse to burn wood than it is to burn gas. It's not a conspiracy. It's right-wing conspiracy. Wood is much cleaner too, right? The guy. Well, I mean, he's throwing petrol on gas. Washington Post is a far-right conspiracy rag now. So banning gas stove is a real thing this week. Morning Joe mocks Republicans for meltdown over gas stove. So that happened. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Elon Musk has unbanned a couple people today. Well, a couple people recently, should I say. But today, Nick Fuentes has been unbanned. He's currently doing a live space on Twitter right now. You could jump in there, listen to what he has to say. He's definitely not calling for violence. Elon Musk on Tuesday unbanned Nick Fuentes, Sam Hyde, journalist Patrick Howley, and Ewan Webster, Scott Ritter, and Pepe Escobar. What happened to those guys? Howley, hey, we just got. I guess when I'm on Twitter, got send a tweet. Scott Ritter, I'm back. We'll see how long, and I'm back, says Pepe. And there's some other people who came back either. British writer David Icke and Mark Collette were given their accounts back earlier this month. The ADL last year threatened Musk with dire consequences if he replatformed dangerous individuals like Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, David Duke, and Donald Trump. In addition, other high-profile individuals may be allowed to return to Twitter. Yep, and all of them misogynist Andrew Tate. Providing these individuals, again, a vast megaphone of Twitter to spread hate and misinformation would lead to dire consequences. So they didn't threaten him with dire consequences. Over half have been given their accounts back so far. ADL CDO John Greenblatt in November claimed that Musk's decision to let Trump back on the platform showed he is not even remotely serious about safeguarding the platform from hate, harassment, and misinformation. Stop defaming me. Elon Musk is the leader of the Anti-Defamation League. He should stop defaming people. What do you guys think about Nick Fuentes being allowed back on Twitter? Good for him. Let me know when he said they got him banned. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Arkansas Senate. Finally. It's just common sense at this point. When people are taking off clothes in a provocative, prurient manner, it's adult entertainment. And adult entertainment is not for kids. Arkansas, people say, oh, Arkansas is the most backward state. It seems like Arkansas is the most progressive state in the union right now. They're the ones actually doing something. Legislature defines drag shows where one performer exhibits a gender identity different from the... Oh boy, so if you try to perform as a different gender, it's a drag show. And drag shows are adult entertainment. Interesting. So you could do other weird, gimmicky, kind of lefty, queer shows as long as you... Well, no, maybe it might work on that. If you can be a male. Let's see. That would classify drag shows as adult business and plans to ban them from public property. The bill defines a drag show as where a performer exhibits a gender identity that is different from the gender identity assigned at birth, using clothing, makeup, or other accessories that traditionally worn by members of or meant to exaggerate the gender identity of the performer's opposite sex. Look at I haven't even read this article, guys, promise me. Look at their use of the words here. The show must appeal to a prurient. That's what the word I used. Or the other word they use here. Interest. Prurient interest. It's a fancier way. This word is a fancier way of saying this one. To be classified as adult entertainment. The bill also says that adult-oriented businesses cannot be where a minor can view them. I cannot think of any redeeming quality or anything good that can come of taking children and putting them in front of a bunch of grown men who are dressed like women, Strubbenfeld said. I thought, and I thought, and I thought, and I couldn't come up with anything. Bad argument. The counterpoint to that is just because you can't imagine an argument doesn't mean there isn't one. It just shows a lack of creativity on your side. Now, this is the same thing as saying, "Oh, what? There's never a reason to drink poison." Well, maybe there is a technically 1 in a million chance to drink poison. I'm losing my train of thought here. So this guy said he couldn't come up with a reason why grown men dressing up like women will be a good thing for children. And you know what? I agree with him because I can't think of anything good that comes from it either. But I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can tell us and inform us since we're all uneducated. Opponents said that bill targets LGBTQ community. Senator Clark Tucker, Democrat, Little Rock, quoted Governor Harris Huckabee Sanders saying she would veto the bill that grows government and at the extent of freedom in our inaugural address. Oh, well, we technically murder laws constrict our freedom, Clark Tucker. So what? What are you going to do about that? Are we going to get rid of murder laws because they grow the government at the extent of freedom? Obviously, we need laws to protect the common order and public decency of society. We can't have orgies happening in the street. Those are illegal. You can't have, and on the same line of that, you can't have adults dressed as women talking to kids about naughty things. That's, someone in the comments, please correct me. I'm not convinced that this legislation actually stands for limited government. Well, bro, if you want to make the government smaller, if you care so much about limited government, start voting to repeal gun laws or the ATF, for example, Mr. Small Government. Why don't you join the Libertarian Party if you really mean it? Tucker said, when it comes to our lives and our people's lives, I believe wholeheartedly that this legislature stands for limited government. Oh, what's here? But when it comes to other people's lives, I believe this legislature is for big government to control their lives. Greg Letting, Lafayette, said the first measure of legislation should be how many people it helps and how many people it hurts. I don't think this bill is going to help anyone. I don't think it's going to hurt anyone. And I don't know that's not my colleague's intent. I believe he's sincere when he says he wants to protect kids. Everyone in this room wants to protect kids, but I don't believe this bill does that. Keeping perverts away from kids is protection. Unless you're going to start saying that like the sex registry is oppressive and homophobic and we need to get rid of the sex registry. Is that where the next line of attack is? I don't know. Oh, hey, Don Willis. I got one of my favorite persons in chat here. So the bill passed a vote 29-6. 6 perverts voted for having men dressed as women talk to kids about naughty things. What else happened here? The bill uses almost the same language as Arkansas's bill to identify lewd and lascivious content as where a performer exhibits a different than their biological. So the bill is assigned to the House State Senate Affairs Committee. Good. I hope it passes. We'll see where it goes. If you guys like this type of content, like down below, subscribe, share for friends. Back the moderator out of here. Oh, speaking of which, I need to share this stream. We are live and I forgot to share it. Why am I so red? Okay, let's talk about NPR. Adult Swim drops Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland. The TV adult channel, television channel Adult Swim, says it's ending its association with Justin Roiland, the co-creator and star of its most popular show, Rick and Morty. In a statement posted to the TV show's Twitter account, it said it would continue, the show would continue, and that the talented crew would work hard on season 7. So, what did they do then? Is he still working on the show? Has ended its association. Oof. No one else can reply to this. Anyone else saying anything about this? Morty. Dan Harmon, now the sole owner of Rick and Morty, plotting all the ways he can. Is he the sole owner now? Is that what happens? Michael Knowles says Rick and Morty's never been funny. Wow. Michael Knowles with the L right there. Justin is Rick and Morty. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Is he both voices? Or just one of them? I don't know the show that well. Anyways, so we're trying to figure out what happened here. He's charged with felony domestic violence. And just a cursory glance at felony domestic violence law is he's had to have like thrown something at her, or like I think the one of the other charge is false imprisonment. So he like didn't let her leave. So he like threw a mug at her and didn't let her leave. Also maybe hit her too. So he's domestic battery. So that battery is actually like laying your hands on them. A felony means he beat the shit out of her. Corporal injury. But he is innocent until proven guilty. And if we read this statement from his lawyer, where is it? It is hard to overstate how inaccurate the recent media coverage of the situation has been. To be clear, not only is Justin innocent, but we have every expectation that this matter is on course to be dismissed once the district's attorney's office has completed its methodological review of the evidence. We look forward to clearing Justin's name and helping him move forward as swiftly as possible. So, honestly, I feel this is the same shit as Brett Kavanaugh in my mind. I don't care. Let charges happen. You know what? Honestly, it's almost like the daily hold on. Collecting my thoughts here. I was thinking of Daily Wire. Like this is like some drama. Like I'm sure he's got a morality clause in his contract that says if you beat up a woman, we're gonna fire you. We'll see if he actually did it. British Museum is now banning the term mummy to respect ancient dead. We live in a first world society. We don't have enough problems. We don't get bombed enough. Where people are worrying about respecting the ancient dead. This is a sign of luxury. We are at the peak of civilization right here. Last time we visited British Museum at legal insurrection, we wrote that the Egyptians petitioned to return the iconic Rosetta Stone, which is used to decipher the hieroglyphics of the long dead language. When I defended this venerable institution then, the woke cadre running museum has now taken a leap off the cliff of relevancy. It might seem impossible to hurt the feelings of a 3,000-year-old corpse, but the woke museum chiefs have stopped using the word mummy to describe the remains of ancient Egyptians, all in the name of respect. They say that the term is dehumanizing to those who died. Well, they're dead. They're no longer human. Well, debatable. Humans are alive. How about that? To those who died, and of course, an unwelcome throwback to Britain's colonial past, the phrase now deemed as politically acceptable is mummified person or mummified remains. I'm sorry. Stop. Time out. We were told you can't say colored people. You have to say people of color. You put the human first. Okay? So it's racist to say mummified person. It should be person of mummification. That is the most politically correct term. I can use their own logic in them. This is so simple. A person of mummification is the actually politically correct term, and this museum is still disrespecting the dead. You can never be woke enough. The museum says the uses of the latter phrase to emphasize to visitors that they're looking at a person who once lived, while at the Great North Museum, Hancock in Newcastle says that it has adopted the new terms for its woman of mummification Irtu, who dates back to 600 BC, and to acknowledge the history of colonial exploitation and to give respect she deserves. What do you mean? How? What colonial exploit? What was the exploitation? The dead lady was exploited by moving her? National Museum Scotland in Edinburgh has also removed the word mummy from its human remains. Spokesperson said, "We know that the word of the name of an individual that we use, where we know the name of the individual, we use that. Otherwise, we use mummified man, woman, boy, girl, person. No. They want to be more sensitive. The term mummified remains can encourage visitors to think of individuals who once lived. We want to remember these are once people of color, too. One must ask, how do we know if those remains want to be identified as a man or woman or sheep? But seriously, if those visitors do not understand those remains are once a living person, then the region's education system is seriously deficient. Yeah, we don't have to say mummified person. We already know it's a friggin' person. Language policing is not going to fix ignorance or increase sensitivity. These people are just trying to language policing. What do you guys think of this article? I think British Museum bans the word mummy. You thought it couldn't get crazier? Writing 2 weekly columns means Sarah Vine can really scratch to find the new woke outrage to complain about. This doesn't make any sense. Her mother's a mummy? How does she think a British Museum's jurisdiction of implementing a ban extends? She's not actually going to stop us from saying mummy. Any comments on this article? All right, what do you guys think about this article? Leave a comment down below. Subscribe. This is the main article I wanted to read tonight. For the longest time, people have been saying, you can't have kids. If you want to save the environment, don't have kids. They consume resources. They burn oil when they drive cars. But apparently Vox has a different opinion. Yes, you can have kids and fight climate change at the same time. The progressive case for climate change. Let's get this out of the way first. I'm not telling you to have children. I'm not telling your mother-in-law or I'm not telling your mother or your mother-in-law. I'm not telling the college classmate who posts endless photos of all their progeny of Instagram. Okay. I'm not telling you have a Nick Cannon-sized family. It's your life. Wow. Thank you. Wow. Great. You can just end the article right here. I'm not telling you how many kids to have at all. This is what all friggin' leftists should be. But instead, they're always like, don't have kids. It's bad for the environment. Just don't have kids. I'm scared of having I don't want to have a child because I'm afraid they're going to be rolled in a world of like a disastrous climate. It's like, what? That said, what's the ocean? The ocean that is the population is made up of drops of countless individual decisions. And the US and much of the world is trending in only one direction. Total births have fallen significantly. Let's get past this. Yep, we already know total births is collapsing in the West. For many conservatives, the long running baby bust is nothing short of a national crisis. Why isn't it for leftists? JD Rants rail against what they call the childless left and lionize leaders like Hungary's Viktor Orban, who launched an aggressive effort to encourage citizens to have more children. In this worldview, Americans' low fertility rate isn't just economic or political challenge, but an indictment of the country that has turned to self-interest and short-sightedness. Progressives, for their part, tend to see conservative concerns over declining births as smokescreen for deeper concerns about the changing color of America, the browning of America. It doesn't escape liberals notice that many of the same figures on the right worried about childlessness also favor off cutting off immigration, the most reliable source of new Americans. Ugh. Are they really new Americans if they're immigrants? They're hashtag American. No, they're hyphen Americans. They're African Americans. They're Asian Americans. They're Japanese. They're Chinese Americans. Indian Americans. Not really Americans, but, you know. Where was I? Nor that few Republicans lined up last year behind Mitt Romney's plan for a more generous child tax credit, which the GOP senators specifically framed as a way to encourage Americans to have more kids. I would want to see this bill first. I'm skeptical if you're framing it that way. I'm dubious. Because why would the government ever do something to encourage us to have kids? I doubt it. It's probably got a poison pill in there. Let's be honest here. Come on. With the wounds from overturning Roe v. Wade still fresh, any policy that calls for boosting birth rates sounds suspiciously like a conservative attempt to control reproductive autonomy. And anyway, given everything from the grim future of climate change to the back-breaking cost of raising children in America, does it even make sense to bring more countries? Are you trying to... What's the progressive case then? We can actually have more kids. All right, tell us. For most of history, the debate over population. The question wasn't whether we're having too few kids or too many. The progressives generally fell on the latter side, too many. Yes, and the population bomb. All right. No, we actually do need more kids. As a father myself, I can tell you that overpopulation's worries have this much right. Children consume energy, resources, and above all else, time. The more time you can possibly imagine. But while no parent looks at their baby and thinks, well, there's a future contributor to the national GDP, the truth is that today's children are tomorrow's workers and innovators. Children need us, but in time, we will need them. All of us will need them. The median age is 38.8, at which point half the population is older or younger. As the U.S. is creeping in the middle age, the number has increased by 3.4 since 2000. Oof. Americans are working later. We actually do want more kids. Oh my god. So I'm done reading this article. This is dumb. I'm gonna take it actually the rest of the night off. Keep it real, you guys. Brackley Motto out of here.